Good day, I'm Dr. Ting. In this short video clip, I'm going to guide you through SAS Studio. In order for us to download this SAS Studio, we do not need to actually get any exe file because SAS Studio is a web-based, web browser-based studio that you can use it through your Google Chrome. So you just go to this link and click on this SAS profile to register a free SAS account and fill in the detail. Then from your email that you register with them, they will send you a code and you can verify from your email address. And after you have successfully registered with this profile, you can start to use SAS Studio. Now we are not going to download the SAS Enterprise minor, SAS Enterprise minor, because it requires some system requirements, so it might create some issues, and you might not be able to solve it on time. So therefore, we have switched to SAS Studio, which is the web-based, and this is the free version for. They call this program as OnDemand for academics, which also means that we can use this for our lifetime. So once you have registered your account through this SAS profile, you can sign in through this main page. Just key in your email and also your password. Click accept. And once you have logged into your own account, you'll be able to see this interface. If you look at this left and right panel, you can click on this button to extend your panel. And the second panel here, actually the button here is for you to download your SAS Enterprise Miner, in which you'll be able to get a full version of your SAS Enterprise Miner from this software. And if let's say your system, your OS fulfill the requirement, you can make use of this link in your SAS environment URL during your setup of your SAS Enterprise. However, in this semester, we're just going to go through SAS, so the web browser version is sufficient, and also for MacBook users, it is advised by SAS technical team that we use. It's good to use a web browser version, which is SAS ODS. They call it On Demand for Academic ODA version to do your data analytics. So after you have successfully logged in, just click on this button to launch your SAS Studio. The interface will look something like this. And now you are ready to run your analysis through this platform. So let's come back to here. Okay, SAS Enterprise or SAS Studio is an advanced analytic data mining that help you to develop your own descriptive and predictive models through streamlined data mining process. And they provide this graphical interface to enable users to logically move through your SAS SEMA approach, which this SEMA means sampling, exploration of your data, modification of your data, build your models like predictive model, and then assess your model. You can also build a process flow by dragging and dropping the nodes on the process flow. So we're going to look at this afterwards, and also support several algorithms and techniques, say for example decision tree, time series, neural network, linear regression, a logistic regression, so on and so forth. Before we start with the data analytics using the SAS Studio, it's good for you to understand some basic a concept of the vocabulary for data analytics in the steady state. First, it's about data type. You will always hear this verb, which we call it as different data type, like categorical data type or numerical data type. And for the third layer of the data type might not be so frequently mentioned in the video clips that we explain or attach after this. The categorical versus numerical, so as you can see from here, this is an example of data set. We call this as data set. and the numbers will be referring to the numerical, whereas the alphabets is actually referring to the categorical data type. So say for example, we might want to carry out regression analysis. For example, we want to find out whether there is a relationship between A and B. Like for example, is there any relationship between the your diet, your different type of diet, and your obesity, whether you are at the risk level or you are normal level. So both of these two groups of variables are actually categorical. Since they are categorical, then you will need to perform logistic regression instead of linear regression, as linear regression is actually applicable for numerical, or we call it as continuous variable. So when you have this data set in the SAS or in any other data analytics tool, we call this column as variables, and some of them also call it as features. But in the SAS, we call it as variables, which referring to the column. And then for the cases, they call it as observations in SAS. In other platform, they might call it as cases or samples, or we call it the sample size, and so on and so forth. But in SAS, we call it as observations. How about independent variable and dependent variable? Independent variable IV, in short, is actually referring to the factors, or it is manipulated in order to collect a set of data which is corresponding to it. We can also call it as cost, and this will be plotted at the x-axis, whereas the dependent variable dv will be plotted on y. It is measured based on the manipulated variable, or we call it as effect. So this is an example of DV and IV. So for example, we want to know whether the treatment, different treatment will give any discomfort to the patients, and what will cause the discomfort. Of course, definitely, if let's say we are looking at the same treatment A, what are the other factors that will cause discomfort? So the discomfort will occur based on different factors. So what are the possible factors? It might be due to the gender issue, age, or duration of the treatment. So we want to find out whether there is any relationship between the DV and a set of IV. Sometimes you might have more than one IV, the factor that will cause the discomfort of the treatment. And therefore, by using SAS, we'll be able to find out which variable or which IV are going to contribute to the DV. In the model analysis, normally we will make use of different metrics to measure your model. Say, for example, for logistic regression, we might look at the AIC, or residual deviance, the confusion matrix, or ROC. And then for linear regression, we'll be looking at R square or adjusted R square, MSE, RMSE, and MAE. And normally all this metrics should be as minimum as possible in order to prove that this is a good model. For correlation, whether there is a correlation between A and B variable, we'll be looking at the significance. If it is lesser than 0.05, then there is a significant relationship between two variables. So for these different kinds of metrics, you can search online if you would like to find out, but all this will be used in the different model setting or options that you're going to see. Some of the terms here, it actually brings a meaning that this is how they look at, or they analyze, or they evaluate the model. So with all the basic knowledge that I've presented to you, now you are ready to start with your SAS Studio. After you have registered your studio profile, I've prepared 5 video clips here, and all these video clips are actually from SAS, a technical team from different supports. Now you can go through all this program or this tutorial from SAS website and come back to me if you have any question. But before we start any of this video, any of this tutorial from SAS team, I would like to guide you through some basic or tips for you to take note if, let's say, you are stuck somewhere else. Because watching these video clips also means that you have some prior knowledge with this SAS Studio. So I'm going to guide you through very quickly on some tips to take note of. Okay, so after you have logged into your profile, this is the platform that you're going to see, the SAS Studio. And there are few tabs here, as you can see from the left hand side. The first tab is the server, files and folder, followed by tasks and utilities, snippets, the libraries and file shortcuts. For server and file folder, this is just like your project. If, let's say, you want to open a new project, then you go to the file or the home, create a new project of yourself, which is for yourself, and you store everything inside here. So you can create a new folder, say for example, new one, I will put it as, and you can upload your file here, right click and upload files from here, and choose the file from the resources that you have. I will just open an example of file. You can upload file of SAV, CSV file, or even the SAS format file. SAS format file will look like something like this. Let me open an example. This will be the example of SAS file .sas7bdat. So once you have uploaded your file, say for example, this is your file, but this is in SAV format, and you might have also file of CSV format. So the SAS is going to import this file into their library in order for you to use the task and utility from the library here. If you have a data source which CSV or SAV, SAV is a file type from SPSS. If you have this kind of file, which is not the data file of the SAS, you will need to convert it. You can do the conversion manually by just clicking on the file, and then you are going to see the code here generated for you saying that we are going to import this file, and then we are going to output the file, convert the file into the work folder, which is under the library work here. So eventually you'll be able to see a file generated here, which is ready to be used in this SAS Studio. So you just need to run this, or let's say I want to change the name. If, let's say, for this fitness.csv, I want to change the name. I don't want, because this import is a default name. It will give you default name of the output file converted in import 1, import 2, import 3, for example. Then you can edit it and give the name accordingly. So make sure you change all the name of import here, because you are going to produce the import, the name which is called import. So you can change, let's say I want to change it to just now, that is regarding the health. That is the what is that? The data set about. So I will need to copy and paste it into here. This is the name of my file. Alright, now I'm ready to convert this file, which is fitness. Oh, sorry, it should be fitness. Sorry, fitness. So I'm going to change it back to fitness. It's not called health, it's called fitness. You just click run and done. Okay, there are two errors found here. Sorry, the procedure fitness not found and the file fitness of data does not exist. So you have to go back to your code and double check on the code. The source file is fitness.csv, and then you are going to output it to fitness, and open the table after you have generated the file. The file name is fitness. Okay, once you undo, This is the original file. Oh, sorry, you don't put this import. You don't change the import here. But in fact, you change the name here. Okay, so after you have changed it, this is the code. I've changed the name to fitness. So now when I check my library, you'll be able to see the fitness here. When you double click, you'll be able to open this work file. The data set that you have imported to the library. But originally, if let's say you have this CSV file and you double click on it, you will not be able to see the content of this fitness. Okay, so you have this work dot fitness means it's under the library work dot fitness. So that's one way for you to upload your file here. And I've prepared some file for you to do your exercise, for you to go through these video clips. In some of the video clips, you might need different data set. So for the video clip, they have this data set prior loaded into their library, so you will have to do additional thing by uploading the data set that I prepared and uploaded in the canvas. You have to upload it into here before you can carry out all these regression tests, linear regression, logistic regression, time series modeling, and forecasting. So that's one thing that I need to show you about the file that you are going to create. Okay, there is another under this. There are other elements I need to show you. The next will be the task and utility, where you can find all the tasks. For example, if you want to cleanse your data, but no worries, because the data set that we have prepared for you has already cleansed and transformed to a certain extent that it is not too noisy. Noisy means there are not too much missing values or strange, weird input. So the data are actually cleansed in to certain degree. And then you can draw graph, map, or do some statistic analysis like correlation, one-way ANOVA, or linear model will be under here, the linear regression, the predictive regression, and other statistical, like for example, forecasting, modeling, and forecasting, and so on and so forth. So this will be under task and utility. Then snippet is helping you to store all your source code, the code that you write. You can actually store it in you can store a part of it. Say for example, if you want to store this part, then you don't have to rewrite this, so you can store this as your snippet here and use it next time. Then libraries, I've explained that. Okay, we're not going to use file shortcuts. Okay, now there is another thing that is very important for you to take note, which is this part, the SAS programmer versus visual programmer. The SAS programmer is meant for you to look at the code, to write the output, to write the analysis, so coding by yourself. However, if let's say you prefer the visualize coding or the visualize UI version, then you can do something like this. Let's say go to new process flow, then you go to task and utility. You can drag and drop. Say for example, I'm going to use this fitness, and then I'm going to use this correlation analysis. I'm going to join them together, double click on this, and adjust all this, enlarge this, and adjust all these parameters accordingly. So for example, if let's say I click on this and I say analysis variable is I want to find out the oxygen versus correlated with other variables, then I'll be able to actually see the code, the source code generated automatically for me. And by setting this, the code will be updated accordingly. When you go back to your process flow, you will be able to see the GUI format, which is easier for the beginner to understand the whole process. So that's all from my side. And now you can start with other tasks by making use of SAS Studio. And don't forget to accomplish a small exercise that I have prepared for you all. And please submit accordingly and enjoy SAS Studio.